Hi, in this video I am going to show you that the Microsoft Office Word basic tools. In most of the cases people don't know some of the important tools which they can use actually in order to format their page. So I thought that I have to share few concepts that everybody need to know so that they could make their life more easier. So here are the few topics that I am going to cover today. So please watch it till the end so that you could find out all those basic things which you need to know actually. So let's start. So I'm going to create a new file of Microsoft Office Word. So here is the file. I will just open it, and right now I have needed some text on which I could able to do some changes. So here is the function equal to rand parenthesis open and close, then press enter. You will find the dummy text. So this is the dummy text over here. So let's start doing some formatting first. So we have the first topic to cover is formatting. So formatting means, first example, you want to make it bold, and you want to make it more, means bigger than the other lines. So this has become bold and even have the greater size. For say example, we have this specific line and we want to change the background color. For say example, we have this specific line and we want to change the color of this specific line. For say example, we have this line and we want to change the color style. So you can also change from here, right? So this is the way to change the color style, in the sense font style, font styling. So from here you can also change the font, right? Font size. So for say example, and one more thing is here you can change the font family. So here you can see the changes. So in this way you can change the font family, right? You can also, for say example, we have this specific line and I want to increase the size of it and I want to make it italic and underlined. So this is italic and underlined, and these are the two tools using which we can make them smaller and larger. You have already seen, for example, I am clicking on this and this would become greater and this would become smaller. For say example, I want to make every word capital, every starting letter of the word capital. So then you will click here and you will click capitalize each word. So now you can find out that every single word which is selected now has the starting letter capital, right? And for say example, you want to make them lowercase, then every letter would be in lowercase, uppercase. You can also do like this, like that. For say example, I am reverting this. For say example, here are few letters which are capital and some are small. For say example, this is capital and this is capital, and I am going to select this specific text, and now I am going to toggle case. Toggle case means if there would be any small case, then that would be converted to uppercase, and if there would be any uppercase, that would be converted to small case. So now you can find out that this W was capital and now it is small, and this N was capital, now it is small. This T was capital and now it is small. So S was capital, it is small. So in this way you can toggle. For say example, you again do this, then again small would be in capital and capital it would be in small, lowercase, capital case. And sentence case means starting word would be in capital letter, and whichever related, actually there was already, for say example, we have this line, right? And I am going to increase the size and now I want to make them sentence case. So sentence case, it is actually already in a sentence sentential way, because of which there is not any changing that you are going to see here, right? So the next thing is, for say example, I am going to write here H2O, right? So as you know, let me increase the size of this specific H2O. As you know that H2O should be in subscript, right? Subscript means below. So if we shall click here, then H2O. For say example, I want to write A square, right? So as you know that square must be in top, superscript. So this would become in this way, right? So one more thing here, for say example, I have selected this text and I have made this cross, right? And even few more things are, for say example, you don't want that type of underline, you can also use dashed line, dotted line. So this way you can also change. Next thing is, for say example, I have some items, item 1, or maybe some text that is points. This is something, right? So if you want to make it in points, then you can also click here. So this would become in point. This is another point, right? So for say example, you want to make it sub point, then click on tab key of the keyboard, then that would become the sub list, right? So here is sub list. So again, this is also sub list. And for say example, again you want to do a nesting of a list, then you can also do this, right? So this is Sam here, right? So you can also use the numbers, right? And even these are also few things that you can use. Again, this is another point, right? In this way you can practice each and every, so that you could able to know about. And next, for say example, you don't want it, but you want numbers, then you would click over there and you would again, the things would be converted to, this is another point, right? And if you will click here, then it will be converted to 1 and 2 and 3 in this way, right? So again, I have needed few, I have to practice few more examples. So rand equal to rand, and now you have text now, and I want to do some changes here. So for say example, this is the text that I have already selected, right? So you can see that these lines are not completed. Why? Because the words is not going to be adjusted here, because of which that is gone to the next line. So if you want to make it more accurate, you can do it justified, and always do it justified, because justified means alignment is proper, right? For say example, you want to make it center, you can do using this. You can make it right aligned, left aligned, but always use justified, right? For example, you want to increase the line height, you can also do from here, right? So from here you can use you can do the changes in line height. So you can see that every line height is larger than before, right? So I have to select again, and line height is again proper. So now next is color. I already discussed. Yes, for example, you have formatted this underline, background is green, and yes, that's it, and size is little bit larger. And now for example, you want to let me do it once again. I have this specific line, right? And I am going to do some formatting here, right? But one thing I want is I want to make this line as it is, means just like this. So I need not again select this and then after do it underline and background, change the background, and then font style and everything. Just I have a tool here, format painter, right? Firstly I have to select this, then I have to click on format painter, and then wherever I have needed I have to keep it before the line so that you could get the cursor and then click, and you will find out the same style that was on the earlier line, right? For example, you have a specific text, so you can also do that. You will again click there and this text would be formatted just like that, right? But you know that once I click and then after the effect is not remain as it is. So how we can keep that effect to use over and over again? We will click two times, double click, then after if you will click here, then everywhere you can you can change the fonts, right? So once you will practice, then after you have to, as you know that you can find out right now the cursor has a brush before, right? So we have to remove right now. Why? Because wherever you will click and select, that would be formatted. So in order to remove that formatting now, format painter should be off now, right? So this was the basic thing that you have to keep in mind. Now we have to move forward a bit. So equal to rent. So I have to write here something like smart art. Here are some smart arts. So in some cases we needed such type of things. For example, we have this specific thing, right? And we needed to courses. We want to mention some courses, and for example HTML, CSS, JS, jQuery. So all these have been mentioned. So in this way you can use in your text file, in your Microsoft Office Word file. So when you have needed, you can also change the formatting of this specific design. So you can change the color in this way. You can change the style of that as well. In this way you can choose any of them, right? So in this way you can do the stuff. For example, you are making your resume. So as you know that at that time you have needed what, photograph. So that photograph you have to adjust somewhere. For example, I am inserting an image here, So now I have to keep it smaller, and I have to adjust this somewhere on the top. Somewhere on the top means, for example, I have to keep it here. So as you know that image has taken the whole space which it has not needed now, right? So how we can adjust this? So we have another tool here, which is, once we shall double click, then you will get the tool. This is tight. Once we shall click the tight, then you can see that the space this image has needed, that would be occupied. Other than that, the text would cover that space. So you can use this specific tool, tight, right? So from where I got insert, and then you have to double click this, and in format you will get this wrap text, and then you will get the tight, right? So this was very useful. So for example, I am inserting another image, and I want to do some formatting here. Yes, in this way you can change this style. You can also change this in this way, according to your requirement you can do it, right? And even for example, I want to make it smaller. So how it would be possible? Once you will double click, you will find out here the crop tool. So you will click on that, and you can make it smaller. So now this is cool. So you will click once again over there, then you will get the cropped image, right? One more thing I left behind actually. For example, you want to find some text, and want to replace that. So firstly, for example, I have book here. I have written book here, and book here, right? So I want to find the book word in the text, right? So what I shall do is, I shall go to the find. Once I click right top corner, right, find, or maybe you can also use Control F. You will get this text box, and here you have to write that specific word, book. So once you would write that, then that specific word would be marked in yellow color. So these are the few words that were actually for which we were searching, right? And I want to replace this specific word into another one. So for example, I want to replace this. So here is the replace option, and you have to write here the word that you want to replace. This is book, and again replace with, for example, school. So replace all or find next means a specific word you want to replace. It is also possible, but if you want to replace all of them, like 3 Idiot, I think, yes, in 3 Idiot Amir Khan has also done the same thing, right? So replace all. So now 4 replacements has been done successfully. So now if you will find here school, then you will get the school in place of book. So this is also one of the beautiful tool that you can use. So next thing what I have not covered yet, find and replacement, alignment, format, okay, margin and origin. So margin and origin means, for example, right now you can look at it. That here I have some space on the left side and right side, and maybe on the top of the text some space that is left. So why this is? Because this is margin. So if you want to decrease the margin, it is also possible. So from where you will go? You will go to layout, and then margin, and you have different styles here, different layouts here, margins here. So for example, I am choosing narrow. So now you can see that on the left side and right side and on the top side the margin is very less, means the less space is wasted, right? So this was the thing. And if you have needed any specific margin page, then you can also use custom margins, right? Here you can set the top, left, and yes, that's it. Top, left, right, bottom, right. So all these you can do the changes, and finally you will get the specific page that you want actually. So now one more thing I have to show you. Orientation means right now it is portrait means the height is more than that of width. For example, you want to zoom out this, and you can see that the height is greater than that of width. And if we shall make it landscape, then now you can see that the width is greater than that of height. So this means we have changed the orientation. So if you always you have needed portrait, right? Because in most of the cases, very rare you will have a need of landscape. Other than that, always use portrait. So these were the few tools that we have used today, and I think all were most important and even you needed to know. And one more thing is watermark. So watermark I want to use right now, which is there in the, I think, design. So here is the watermark. So for example, I want to use this, and here you will find out that behind the specific page you will find out this watermark, confidential. So for example, I want to change this. It is also possible. So you have to do custom watermarks, and for example, I am writing my own name, Ramzan, right? Once I click, you will find out that this is Ramzan. And if you are not able to see that, I'm just, yes, right now you will find out in the new page the text is not there, because of which you can able to find out the watermark easily, right? And one more thing is you can also use the image as watermark, right? So for example, I want to use the image as watermark. So how it is possible? You have to choose the image picture watermark, right? And what you have to do is you have to choose select picture, right? Work offline. And for example, I am just using this apple as the watermark. So now you can see the apple as the watermark. Behind the text you can see the apple, right? So how that was possible, I already mentioned, right? So in this way you can change the watermark, and you can also change the page color, right? For example, you want it black, any other color, so that is also possible, right? So you can use according to your requirement, right? So in this way you can play with different tools of the Microsoft Office Word. So that's it. In the next video we would be learning about another cool concept. So before ending this video, I request you to support my channel by subscribing it if not subscribed yet. Just subscribe it on clicking at subscribe button right bottom of your screen. Like this video, share this video to your friends. For any query, please feel free to ask below in the comment. I appreciate your feedback if you have any. Have a nice day ahead.